Hey y'all. So I'm sure you've been noticing the strange vibes around these days. So today I want to talk about how Lord of the Rings is real. Yes, you heard that right. Many things about the book can be totally extrapolated to real life. For example, Isengard, we have it. Balrog, we got that too. And it's a huge one, unfortunately. Sauron and the Nazgul, we have a ton of people desperately cosplaying them. Even co-opting Tolkien names like Palantir, Erebor, and Anduril. Thankfully, the good things also apply, and they're greater than the darkness, just like in the book. The fellowship, the love, and hope ultimately wins, because there's no other alternative in a universe where love and authenticity are the highest vibrations. So today I'm going to dive into it, since this topic has become more mainstream these days, more people are talking about it, and I feel like now I can talk without feeling completely insane or without being too visible to Sauron's eye. Let's go. So I remember when I was 10 years old and my dad walked into my room and he said that he would give me $10 if I finished reading this book that he really liked. I basically accepted it because I was trying to raise money to buy The Sims, but the book that he handed me changed my life. The Hobbit. It was a fabulous gateway drug to the wonderful world of Lord of the Rings. I can't tell you how many times I prayed for magic to be real, for elves to exist and be protecting forests, for parties like the ones in Hobbiton. I always thought these fantasy things could never really possibly exist, but now I look around and I see many similarities between the unfolding of the current times and the universe created by Tolkien. And they keep popping up as our special brand of Sauron continues to deepen their hold in our modern Earth. So today I want to talk about these similarities. We begin at the beginning, when Eru, the god of all things, created the world with song. And this is a passage from the Silmarillion. And it came to pass that Ilúvatar called together all the Ainur and declared to them a mighty theme, unfolding to them things greater and more wonderful than he had yet revealed. And the glory of its beginning and the splendor of its end amazed the Ainur, so that they bowed before Ilúvatar and were silent. Then Ilúvatar said to them, "Of the theme that I have declared to you, I will now that ye make in harmony together a great music. And since I have kindled you with the flame imperishable, ye shall show forth your powers in adorning this theme, each with his own thoughts and devices, if he will. But I will sit and hearken and be glad that through you great beauty has been wakened into song." So that is the beginning. And if you consider that everything in the universe is frequency, that makes a lot of sense, right? In our Earth universe, life is one long, continuous song, with everything in existence being, in essence, a vibration and a frequency. And the flame imperishable that he mentioned, the human fire of creation that transforms these thoughts, these vibrations into reality, into the material world. Just like the Ainur sang Arda into existence, so do humans think the world into existence. Number 2, we have Ents. They are gods of this planet and guardians of the forest, just like the Ents in Lord of the Rings. In the Silmarillion, it is described that the Ents are created by Yavanna, who is considered the queen of the earth because she creates all things from the earthly realm, basically nature. And she created these Ents, which were sentient humanoid beings, to protect trees from other creatures, especially dwarves and orcs. In Arda, some old trees were inhabited by spirits, like Treebeard. And just like Earth's old growth trees, it was said that their roots drank deep from the earth and gave them power to talk, communication, which old growth trees also possess. This is done through multiple channels, from chemicals released by the leaves that can warn other trees of bugs and pests and things like that, to the underground mycelium network that functions essentially as nature's neural network. They may not walk around like the Ents, but their towering existence still shepherds the forests by withstanding even the hottest wildfires, and its seeds sprouting life from these fires' destructive forces. Gods on Earth. I'm pretty sure that scene where Pippin manages to convince Treebeard to go by Isengard, and then they see the destruction of the forest to continue the industrious aspect of Isengard, which is also very real in real life. Treebeard sees all the destruction of the forest, freaks out, and then just basically floods the entire Isengard. My favorite scene, so satisfying. Which brings me to number 3, of Lord of the Rings is real: Isengard and the White Hand. I'm sure everyone is aware that we have a country on this earth that is essentially Isengard. The name even sounds like it. It produces unconscious orc-like warriors that service the White Hand. These orc warriors are trained specifically for combat and nothing else, and do the bidding of Saruman exclusively, without question. They are aided by a system of surveillance based on a palantir, which is a seeing stone that could be used to communicate with other seeing stones of its kind and see places far off. The orders for these orcs were to go into human kingdoms and destroy them to end the world of men, or humans, basically. They destroyed ancient forests to churn the land for their own industrial means, to make more orcs, make more weapons. Ultimately, this violent cult in service of the White Hand with a system of surveillance that was based on magic and seeing stones called Palantir were defeated by the cunning mind of the Hobbit and the unbridled power of nature, both trees and water. Number 4 in Lord of the Rings is real life. It's the Balrog. In the book, the Balrog is a Maiar, which is a lesser spirit or angel, which was corrupted by Morgoth, which was the bad guy. He's kind of like Sauron's boss, if you think about it. While all the Ainur were singing the song that created Arda, this particular one, Morgoth, decided to sing his own thing because he was very powerful and his greed kind of overcame the song of the others. Through this dissonance in the song, he managed to corrupt some of the spirits and the angels. In the Silmarillion, there's a passage that says, "Of the Maiar, many were drawn to Melkor's splendor in the days of his greatness, and remained in that allegiance down into his darkness. And others he corrupted afterwards to his service with lies and treacherous gifts." Sauron was one of these corrupted ones, and the Balrogs were another. The word Balrog in Kenya, which is the Elven language, means demons of power, seduced and corrupted by Morgoth into betraying the Valar, and then turned into these scourges of fire cloaked in shadow. It's kind of a long story like everything in Tolkien's universe, but basically the Balrogs would go into the earth and just slumber for a very long time until they were awakened. One of these Balrogs slept underneath Khazad-dûm, and he got awakened by the dwarves mining very deep into the earth for Mithril, being very greedy about it. In the movie, when they go into the mines of Moria and they see everybody dead, that's who ended them. A Balrog called Durin's Bane. In real life, that's basically what we did too. We plundered the earth, we mined for minerals, we mined for oil, and we essentially created a being of flame cloaked in darkness, which is global warming. Humans essentially chose greed over the well-being of the planet. These are the same people and industries that have been knowingly spreading darkness and lies in service of their eternal profiteering. They dug deep into the earth for oil and gas and then burned collectively for over 2 centuries, transforming the atmosphere of our planet into a slowly heating oven, a world of fire and flame. The Balrog of climate change. Just like the dwarves awakening Durin's Bane in Moria, we too dig deep and then unleashed infernal heat. Durin's Bane caused the ruin of Moria itself. Our climate change Balrog may do the same to human civilization. And last but not least, number 5, another dwarven-inspired, greed-related topic, Erebor, which is fairly new, I might add. But Erebor, basically for whoever watched The Hobbit or read The Hobbit, was the dwarven kingdom of Thorin, where their absolute greed attracted a gold-obsessed dragon, Smaug, that burned everything to the ground to take over that gold cache. In the real world, this is a US bank that was launched by tech billionaires who are incidentally hoarding the majority of the resources of the world and not sharing it. They're basically modernizing dragon sickness. And it's also related to crypto, which is contributing to devastating effects in the environment, related to AI, which has data centers which are poisoning communities and contributing to the Balrog human's bane. It seems like the evil axis relates to the dwarves in many ways, even though I love the dwarves. No dwarf hate coming from me will not get me hating on the dwarves, but gotta be realistic here. They did some sketchy things. I promise I'm unbiased. I always used to say that I would like to look like an elf, but live the life of the dwarf because they partied more. Now I'm not so sure about that. And I want to finish this off with some positive notes because, of course, there are many negative things that could be related to the real world nowadays. But if there's one thing that Tolkien reminds me of, is that the power of goodness can win even under impossible odds. He reminds us to stay true to fellowship, to value our friends and family because they literally carry us sometimes. He reminds us of fellowship, embracing the many creeds, races, and species that walk alongside us. They make us stronger. Diversity of opinions and skills creates a well-rounded team that can tackle the most dangerous missions efficiently and with great honor. From the Palantiri, he teaches us to not believe everything that we see. Sauron's selective use of the Palantiri visions tricked many people into believing a false reality and then led them to their doom. So the lesson that we learn here is that when we are presented with information, especially in this age where AI exists and purposeful disinformation also exists, we should question everything. The visions of the Palantir, when they are controlled by evil, they are meant to elicit a specific response from you. Be careful of that. As for dealing with our Balrog, all we need is Gandalf. Very simple. But seriously, we need them. We need please and thank you, and we need many of them. Although in all seriousness, I do see people out there rising to the occasion all over. Fantastic human beings that are tackling the Balrog from many different directions and working really hard at it too. Goodness is sprouting everywhere, spreading the light like Yarindil. So in essence, even when things seem to be going in the wrong direction and evil seems overwhelmingly powerful and widespread, Tolkien teaches us to never lose hope. He shows us that over and over, even the smallest person can change the course of history. That there is some good in this world, Mr. Frodo, and it's worth fighting for. So all we have to do is decide what to do with the time that is given to us. Thank you so much for watching this video till the end, you guys. If you liked it, please hit that thumbs up, make a comment, tell me, do you see other similarities? Something that I missed? Do you have a favorite passage of Tolkien that you hold dear, or a favorite story of his that you like to look back to? I would love to hear from you, and see you in the next video.